The massive bridge of the Eon's Prometheus hummed with quiet energy as Captain Do-Young Kim stood watching the stars through the main viewport. The ship, Earth's newest and most powerful dreadnought, stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern. Its dark hull absorbed the distant starlight, making it look like a piece of night sky had taken shape. "Captain," Officer Hae-Nul Song called from the science station, her voice cutting through the quiet bridge. "We're picking up an unusual signal from the Centauri sector." Do-Young walked over to her station, his boots making soft sounds on the polished floor. "What kind of signal?" "It's not human, sir. The pattern is unlike anything in our database." Hae-Nul's fingers moved quickly across her console, bringing up visual representations of the signal. "But it's definitely artificial. And," she paused, double-checking her readings, "it's a distress call." The bridge crew turned to look at their captain. This was historic. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization might be about to happen because of a cry for help. "Put it through the translator," Do-Young ordered. He kept his voice calm, though his heart was racing. Years of training had prepared him for this moment, but nothing could truly ready someone for humanity's first alien contact. The ship's AI worked quickly. Soon, a strange voice filled the bridge, speaking in broken but understandable English. "This is the Zorathian colony of New Hope. We are under attack. Our defenses are failing. Any peaceful species who receives this message, please help us. We have children here. We are not warriors." Do-Young's jaw tightened. The voice sounded genuinely scared. "Song, can you verify this isn't a trap?" "Running scans now, sir." Hae-Nul worked rapidly at her station. "The signal is coming from a star system about 20 light-years from here. I'm detecting signs of weapons fire and significant energy discharges consistent with a space battle." "Captain," Communications Officer Yi Jin-nam spoke up from her station. "I've analyzed the emotional content of the message. The fear in their voice patterns matches known indicators of genuine distress across multiple species' vocal ranges." Do-Young nodded slowly. He walked back to his command chair and sat down, pressing a button on the armrest. "All senior officers to the bridge for emergency consultation." Within minutes, his command team had gathered. They listened to the message together, their faces growing serious as they understood the situation. "We can't ignore this," Tactical Officer Yoon-ji Shin said firmly. "If we want to be taken seriously as a spacefaring species, we need to show we'll help others in need." Intelligence Officer Ta-Ho Lee disagreed. "It could still be a trap. We don't know anything about these Zorathians." "That's exactly why we need to go," Do-Young said, making his decision. "Earth sent us out here not just to explore, but to represent the best of humanity. If there are innocent lives at risk, we have a duty to help." He stood up, addressing his crew. "Helm, plot a course to the signal's origin. Communications, send a message back to Earth explaining the situation. Tactical, bring all weapons online but keep them powered down. We'll show we're capable of fighting but choose peace first." The bridge burst into activity as his orders were carried out. Do-Young watched his crew work, feeling proud of their professionalism. The Prometheus had been designed as humanity's first true deep space battleship, built to protect Earth and its colonies. Now it would serve an even nobler purpose, rescuing another species in need. As the massive ship turned toward its new destination, Do-Young thought about the responsibility on his shoulders. The next few days would not only decide the fate of these Zorathians, but might also determine humanity's first impression on the galactic stage. "All hands," he announced shipwide, "prepare for emergency faster-than-light jump. We're about to make history." The Prometheus's engines flared bright blue as it accelerated to FTL speed, carrying its crew toward humanity's first interstellar rescue mission. None of them knew what they would find when they arrived, but they were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in defense of innocent lives. Admiral Jae-yun Park stood at the head of the oval table in the United Earth Defense Council chamber. The emergency meeting had been called within minutes of receiving the Prometheus's transmission about the Zorathian distress signal. The chamber's large screen showed real-time data from the Prometheus, including the alien message. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jai-Yun addressed the council members, her voice firm and clear. "Captain Kim's report presents us with a historic opportunity and a serious responsibility. The Zorathians have asked for help, and we must decide quickly." Defense Minister Chen raised his hand. "Admiral, how do we know this isn't a trap? We've never encountered this species before." Intelligence Officer Taiho Li stepped forward from his position near the screens. He had been analyzing the Zorathian transmission since it arrived. "Minister, I've completed an initial analysis of their communication patterns. Their language structure shows signs of advanced cultural development focused on art and peace." He pressed a button, bringing up more data. "Their distress call uses mathematical sequences that match peaceful intent markers we theorize would be universal. They're either genuine or they're far more sophisticated at deception than any species we've ever imagined." The council members murmured among themselves. Jai-Yun waited for them to quiet down before continuing. "The Prometheus is our most advanced warship. If this is a trap, Captain Kim and his crew are well equipped to handle it. If it's genuine, we have a chance to make our first alien contact by helping others in need." "What about the attackers?" asked another council member. "Are we ready to face an unknown hostile force?" Jai-Yun nodded to her tactical advisor, who displayed the Prometheus's capabilities on the main screen. The Dreadnought-class vessel was built to defend Earth against unknown threats. Its shield technology is the most advanced we've ever created. The ship carries enough firepower to defend itself and others, while having the speed to retreat if necessary. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Humanity had been preparing for first contact for decades, but no one had expected it to happen like this. Minister Chen spoke again. "If we help them, we risk making an enemy of whoever is attacking them. If we don't help, we risk being seen as cowards by the galactic community we didn't even know existed until today." "Exactly," Jai-Yun replied. "This is not just about the Zorathians. This is about who we are as a species. Do we want our first act on the galactic stage to be turning away from a cry for help?" Taiho added his perspective. "The Zorathians mentioned children in their distress call. They could have asked for military aid or weapons. Instead, they simply asked for help. That speaks volumes about their character." The council members looked at each other. The weight of the decision pressed down on all of them. They weren't just deciding the fate of one alien colony. They were deciding humanity's first steps into a larger universe. Jai-Yun straightened her uniform and made her final argument. "The Prometheus was named after the mythical figure who gave fire to humanity. Now we have a chance to bring hope to another species. I recommend we authorize Captain Kim to proceed with the rescue mission." The council president called for a vote. One by one, the members pressed their voting buttons. The main screen displayed the results. Authorization granted. Jai-Yun didn't waste a second. She turned to her communications officer. "Send word to the Prometheus. They have full authorization to proceed with the rescue mission. Tell them." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Tell them they carry humanity's hopes with them." As the message was sent, Jai-Yun looked at the star map, showing the Prometheus's position. Soon, humanity would make its first mark on galactic history. She hoped they had made the right choice. The fate of two species now rested on the shoulders of Captain Kim and his crew. The EN's Prometheus moved through space at maximum FTL speed, flanked by two support vessels. Captain Sun Mi Kang commanded the EN's Valiant to their port side, while Captain Hyun Woo Choi led the ENS Guardian to starboard. Together, they formed Earth's first rescue fleet. In the Prometheus's science lab, Officer Haendul Song studied the data packets they had received from the Zorathians. Her eyes widened as new information appeared on her screens. "Captain," she called through the ship's communication system. "You need to see this." Captain Do-Yum Kim arrived minutes later. "What have you found?" Haendul displayed a series of images on the main screen. They showed beautiful structures that seemed to be made of crystal and light. These are Zorathian buildings, she explained. Their entire civilization appears to be built around art and beauty. Look at this. She played a recording of Zorathian music. The sound filled the lab. Complex harmonies that made Earth's most advanced compositions seem simple in comparison. Their mathematics and their art are the same thing, Hainul said. They don't separate science from beauty. Do-young listened carefully. How advanced are they compared to us? In some ways, more advanced. In others, less. Hainul brought up more data. They focused their development on art, medicine, and peaceful technology. They barely have any weapons. That's why they're in trouble now. The ship's communication system activated. Captain, Officer Yi Jin Nam's voice came through. We're receiving updated distress signals. The attack is getting worse. Do-young hurried back to the bridge, where his crew worked at their stations. The main screen showed their progress through space, still 12 hours from their destination. Message from the Valiant. Yi Jin announced. Captain Kang reports their engines are at maximum capacity. Same report from the Guardian, added another officer. Captain Choi says they're pushing their systems to the limit. Do-young sat in his command chair. Send word to both ships. Maintain this speed. We're not losing those people because we played it safe with our engines. The journey continued. Every hour brought new data about the Zorathians. They learned about a species that had spent thousands of years creating beauty instead of weapons. A civilization that valued art as much as science and had never fought a war until now. Tactical update. Commander Yoon Ji-shin called out. Long-range sensors are picking up weapons fire at our destination. The battle is still going on. Do-young stood up and walked to the tactical station. Show me. The screen displayed distant flashes of light, weapons fire, and explosions. The Zorathian colony was under heavy attack. Their few defensive ships fought bravely, but were clearly outmatched. All hands. Do-young announced shipwide. This is the captain. In 8 hours, we will arrive at the Zorathian colony. We go to help a people who chose to create beauty instead of weapons. They represent the best of what intelligent life can be. We will not let them fall. He turned to his crew on the bridge. Prepare all systems for combat. We'll try diplomacy first, but be ready for anything. Humanity's first act in galactic politics will not be standing by while innocent people die. The 3 Earth ships continued their race through space, their engines pushing past safety limits. Behind them, they left a trail of blue energy. Ahead, they carried the hopes of 2 civilizations. In her lab, Hainul made one final discovery in the Zorathian data. She found images of their children, delicate, graceful beings who glowed with inner light. She sent the images to Do-young without comment. They didn't need words to understand what was at stake. The rescue fleet pushed on through the void, drawing closer to their date with history. The Earth fleet dropped out of FTL speed at the edge of the Zorathian system. The sight that greeted them made even experienced officers pause. Dozens of angular, black ships surrounded the Zorathian colony world. Their weapons fired continuously at the planet's weakening shields. Full scan, Captain Do-young Kim ordered. I want to know everything about those ships. Commander Yoon Ji-shin worked at her tactical station. Sir, the attacking vessels belong to something called the Nexer Dominion. Their weapons are powerful, but crude. They rely on brute force rather than precision. Life signs on the colony. Do-young asked. Thousands, Officer Hainul Song reported. Most are gathered in underground shelters. The colony's shields are at 15% power. They won't last another hour. Do-young opened a channel to his support ships. Captain Kang, Captain Choi, move into defensive formation. Weapons ready but do not fire unless I give the order. The 3 Earth ships moved forward as one unit. The Prometheus took the lead, with the Valiant and Guardian flanking it. Their arrival had not gone unnoticed. Sir, we're being hailed by the Nexer flagship. Communications Officer Yi Jin Nam announced. On screen, Do-young ordered. The image that appeared showed a harsh-featured alien with gray, armored skin. This is Commander Vex of the Nexer Dominion. Leave this system immediately. This is not your concern. Do Young stood from his chair. I am Captain Do Young Kim of the Earth ship Prometheus. We received a distress call from this colony. We are here to help them. The Zorathians refused to submit to Nexer authority. Vex growled. Their punishment is necessary. Your species is unknown to us. Leave now, and we will forget this interference. The Zorathians asked for help. Do Young replied calmly. We answered, cease your attack, or we will be forced to stop you. Vex laughed. 3 ships against our fleet. Your courage is admirable but foolish. The transmission cut off. Immediately, 3 Nexer ships broke from their formation and headed toward the Earth vessels. They're charging weapons, Yunji reported. Orders, sir. Do Young's voice remained steady. Activate shields. Hold position. Let's show them what Earth technology can do. The Nexer ships opened fire. Their energy weapons, powerful enough to cripple Zorathian shields, splashed harmlessly against the Prometheus's defenses. Shields holding at 98%, Yunji announced. Their weapons are ineffective against our technology. The bridge crew watched as the Nexer ships fired again and again, achieving nothing. The attackers' frustration was evident in their increasingly erratic movements. Target their weapon systems only, Do Young ordered. Minimal force. Show them we can disable them without destroying them. The Prometheus's weapons fired with surgical precision. Each shot disabled the weapon system on the attacking ships. Within minutes, the 3 Nexer vessels hung powerless in space. Message to the Nexer fleet, Do Young commanded. Your ship's weapons are disabled, but their life support remains intact. This was a demonstration. We can do the same to every ship in your fleet. Withdraw now. The Nexer fleet's response was immediate. More ships turned to face the Earth vessels, but there was hesitation in their movements now. Sir, Hey Newell called out, the colony's shields are about to fail. Do Young made his decision. All ships, move to position Alpha. We're going to put ourselves between those weapons and the colony. Show them what humanity stands for. The Earth fleet moved as one, taking up defensive positions above the Zorathian colony. Their shields glowed as they absorbed the attacks meant for the helpless world below. The first battle between humanity and an alien force had begun. But unlike the Nexer, Earth's ships were fighting to protect, not destroy. Weapons Officer Min Seo Park stared intently at her display aboard the Prometheus. Hours into the battle, she had noticed something unusual about the Nexer ship's energy readings. Each time they fired their weapons, a distinct pattern appeared in their power distribution. Captain, she called to Do Young Kim. I found something important about their ships. Do Young moved to her station, keeping one eye on the ongoing battle. The Earth fleet continued to protect the colony, their shields holding against the Nexer assault. What have you discovered? Min Seo pointed to the energy patterns on her screen. Their weapons and shields share the same power source. Every time they fire, their shields weaken for exactly 2 seconds. It's a fundamental flaw in their design. Do Young understood immediately. This could change everything. He opened a channel to his other ships. Captain Kang, Captain Choi, adjust your targeting computers to these specifications. Wait for my signal. On the surface of the Zorathian colony, Lieutenant Jin Ho Kwon led his ground team through crystalline streets. They had transported down to help evacuate civilians to deeper shelters. The Zorathians they encountered were tall, graceful beings that seemed to glow from within. This way, a Zorathian guide named Lux directed them to a damaged building. There are children trapped inside. Jin Ho and his team moved quickly. They found a group of young Zorathians huddled in a protected room, their inner light dimmed with fear. The Earth soldiers carried them to safety, their powerful armor easily supporting the delicate alien children. Back on the Prometheus, the battle reached its critical moment. The Nexer commander had grown frustrated with his fleet's inability to break through the Earth ship's defenses. Final warning. Commander Vex's voice boomed through the communication system. Stand aside, or we will concentrate all our firepower on your vessels. Do Young smiled slightly. This was exactly what they needed. All ships, prepare for synchronized strike. Target coordinates are being transmitted now. The Nexer fleet gathered together, all ships pointing their weapons at the Earth vessels. They prepared to fire everything they had. Now, Do Young ordered. The Earth fleet fired precisely as the Nexer weapons discharge. Their carefully timed shots slipped through the momentarily weakened shields, striking critical systems. Across the Nexer fleet, weapons and engines shut down. Commander Vex's face appeared on screen again, this time showing shock. How? Our shields were designed poorly, Do Young finished for him. Your entire fleet is now powerless. Only life support remains active. This battle is over. On the surface, Jin Ho's team had finished evacuating the last civilians. He stood in a great hall with the Zorathian leaders, watching through a crystal window as the disabled Nexer ships drifted in space. Your people saved us, Lux said softly, her light growing brighter with hope. We did not know humans existed until today. Now we will never forget you. The Zorathian children they had rescued gathered around the Earth soldiers, their natural glow returning. One small Zorathian touched Jin Ho's armor gently, leaving a trail of sparkles. Mission accomplished, Captain. Jin Ho reported to the Prometheus. All civilians are secure. You should see this place, sir. It's more beautiful than any city on Earth. Do Young looked at his bridge crew, pride evident in his expression. They had faced their first interstellar combat, and won without destroying a single enemy ship. More importantly, they had saved an entire colony of innocent beings. Send word to Earth, he ordered. The Zorathian colony is safe. Humanity has made its first friends among the stars. Communications officer Yi Jin Nam sat at her station aboard the Prometheus, coordinating the most important diplomatic exchange in human history. On one channel, she had the Zorathian leadership. On another, the Nexer commander. Both sides had agreed to talk. Captain Do Young Kim stood in the Prometheus's main conference room, which had been adapted for the meeting. The ship's advanced holographic systems showed both the Zorathian and Nexer representatives, as if they were physically present. The Zorathian representative, Lux, glowed with a soft blue light. Commander Vex of the Nexer appeared less aggressive than before, his armored features softened by the reality of his situation. We are here to find a peaceful solution, Do Young began. The Nexer fleet remains disabled but intact. No lives have been lost. We can keep it that way. Vex shifted uncomfortably. The Nexer Dominion has never negotiated with potential subjects before. Today will be different, Do Young said firmly. You have seen what Earth ships can do. We could have destroyed your fleet. Instead, we chose to disable it. That was not weakness. That was strength. Lux stepped forward, her light pulsing gently. The Zorathian people have always wished for peaceful contact with other species. Even now, after your attack, we are willing to share our art and knowledge with the Nexer. Yi Jin watched her translation software working perfectly, conveying the emotions and meanings between the three different species. She noticed something interesting in the Nexer commander's responses. Captain, she sent a private message to Do Young's display. The Nexer language shows signs of change. Their aggressive terms are being replaced with more diplomatic ones. Do Young understood what this meant. The Nexer were adapting, learning from this encounter. He pressed this advantage. Commander Vex, your people value strength. Consider this. The Zorathians create beauty that will last for generations. Earth protects those who need help. These are different kinds of strength than conquest. Vex was silent for a long moment. Our leaders will want proof that this new approach is better than our old ways. Then let us give them proof, Lux offered. Come to our colony as guests. See what we create. Learn why Earth chose to protect us. Perhaps your people can add their strength to our art, creating something new. The discussion continued for hours. Yi Jin worked tirelessly, ensuring every word was perfectly translated, every subtle meaning conveyed. She could see the change happening as three very different species found common ground. Finally, Commander Vex made his decision. The Nexer Dominion will withdraw from this system. We will send diplomats instead of warships. Perhaps it is time for the Dominion to evolve. Do Young nodded approvingly. Earth will help facilitate these discussions. Our ships will remain here until peaceful relations are firmly established. The agreement was made. The disabled Nexer ships would be repaired and allowed to leave. The Zorathian colony would be protected by Earth ships while diplomatic relations were established. A new era of cooperation would begin. As the meeting ended, Yi Jin received messages from all over the colony. Zorathian children were singing songs about the Earth ships that came to help them. Nexer officers were requesting information about Zorathian art. The change was already beginning. Send a message to Earth, Du Young told her. Tell them that today, humanity didn't just make first contact. We helped create first peace. 1 month after the historic first contact, the Prometheus remained in orbit around the Zorathian colony. Captain Du Kim stood in the colony's Grand Hall, surrounded by representatives from 3 species. The crystalline walls reflected the inner light of the Zorathians, creating patterns that seemed to dance in the air. Admiral Jae-yun Park had arrived from Earth for the official ceremony. She watched as Zorathian artists worked with Nexer craftsmen, combining the delicate beauty of Zorathian crystal work with the strong, angular designs of Nexer architecture. The result was something entirely new, art that showed the strength of unity. Captain Kim, Jae-yun called, her voice carrying in the perfect acoustics of the hall. Earth has made its decision regarding your actions. Do Young stepped forward, his crew standing behind him. They had all changed during their time here. Lieutenant Jin Ho Kwon now wore a crystal pendant given to him by the Zorathian children he had saved. Officer Yi Jin Nam could speak both Zorathian and Nexer without using her translator. In recognition of your service, Jae-yun announced, the United Earth government has created a new position. You and the Prometheus will serve as Earth's first permanent ambassador to both the Zorathian people and the Nexer Dominion. The hall erupted in light as the Zorathians expressed their joy. Even the Nexer representatives, including Commander Vex, showed their approval in their own way, a formal salute that had once been reserved only for their highest leaders. There is more, Jae-yun continued. The Zorathians have shared their medical knowledge with us. Their understanding of light-based healing is already saving lives on Earth. The Nexer have offered to help improve our shield technology. This is only the beginning. Do Young looked at his crew, remembering their journey. Officer Min Seo Park, who had found the weakness in the Nexer ships, was now teaching Earth defense techniques to Zorathian security forces. Officer Hae-Nul Song spent her free time learning Zorathian art science, discovering new ways to combine beauty with technology. The real legacy, Du Young said to the gathered crowd, is not what we did. It's what we're building together. He gestured to a new structure rising outside the hall. It was a school, designed by all 3 species. Zorathian children would learn there alongside young Nexer, who had come with their diplomatic families. Earth teachers would share human knowledge while learning from both cultures. 1 month ago, he continued, the Zorathians asked for help. Earth answered. The Nexer learned there was another way. We all discovered something important. The galaxy is better when we work together. As he finished speaking, a group of Zorathian children performed a new song. They had written it themselves, combining Earth melodies with Zorathian light harmonies and the strong rhythms of Nexer war chants. The result was hauntingly beautiful. Admiral Jae-yun smiled as she watched. The United Earth Defense Council had hoped humanity's first contact would go well. None of them had imagined it would lead to this, 3 species learning from each other, growing stronger together than they had ever been apart. The Prometheus would stay here, a symbol of the day everything changed. Other Earth ships would come, carrying scientists, artists, and teachers instead of weapons. The Nexer would send their young to learn peace alongside strength. The Zorathians would share their art and wisdom with both allies. It had started with a plea for mercy. It had become something much more. Humanity's first step into a larger, more beautiful universe.